Hey y'all, hope all is well. This is Aidan here, and today we're just going to be talking a bit about my story and how I got into sportswear design and how I founded my own label. So, for those of you who don't know, I am from the Bahamas. I grew up and was raised here, and I only left to go to the US for school, and I've recently moved back. So, growing up in here in the Bahamas, from the ages of about 6 to I would say 12, I would travel to the family islands with my grandmother, and together we would make like straw products and straw goods. And just at the end of every summer, we would bring it back to the Bahamas to the local straw market and sell it there. So even though I didn't think of it as design at the time, um, it was my foray into the product market. And after that, I went into high school, and I always did arts and crafts as a child. But I guess I never really thought about it as a career path seriously until my best friend, actually, who's an artist to this day, who works in an art gallery and studio as well. She did not want to go to college, and I thought that she should go to college even though I had no desire or intention to. And so I said, well, hey girl, if I apply, will you apply? And she says, oh, well, I can't afford the application fees. So I said, okay, well, if I find a way for us to apply to art schools for free, can we apply together? And she said yes. So after the application process, fast forward, both of us got into the art schools that she wanted to go to. And I was like, okay, like, if I can do it, you can do it. She says, okay, like, let's do this. And I talked to my parents, and my parents always wanted me to go to college. They're like, okay, yeah, sure. Like, we'll support this. And so I remember September came for that year after we had graduated high school. And I said, hey, girl, I just paid the housing fee or whatever it was. And I just wanted to know when you were moving to the dorms. And she said, what dorms? I said, the one to go to school for SCAD. And she says, oh yeah, didn't I tell you? I said, no, what? She says, oh, I decided not to go anymore. I'm just gonna go to a school that's local instead. And so I said, okay. Great time to tell me. But anyway, I went back to my parents and I was like, hey, I don't think I want to go anymore. And they're like, sorry, I'm looking at my dog. They're like, no, you're going, because, yeah, you're going. You're not basing your college plans based on of anybody else. So I said, okay. And yeah, so I ended up going to SCAD in 2015, and I did a degree that they had called accessory and footwear design. And being there gave me a lot of great, I could definitely say that SCAD is so centered around creative business development. I mean, not only that, but like they're very plugged into the corporate creative realm, especially in terms of fashion. So just being at SCAD, it got me some really great different work opportunities at a bunch of different companies. But towards the end of my degree, I had this sort of like itching desire to get into sportswear. And in high school, I ran like long distance track and field for a bit, but I wouldn't say that I was like an athlete per se. Like I would always like run to clear my head, but never competitively for extended periods of time. And so I ended up applying to a lot of different places when I graduated, and there's this one company, one of the biggest sportswear brands. I had applied there for like 6 years in a row for like this apprenticeship program they had, and I never got it. And for some reason, the last year, which was like the year I was graduating school, like is the first, like I sent an email, I sent the application, and I remember I sent the application in on a Tuesday, like afternoon, and by I think Tuesday midnight or like something crazy like that, I got an email back saying, hey, I just saw your application and I'm actually going to be on your college campus like within the next 5 to 7 days. would you like to meet with me while I'm there? It was like a recruiter from the company, and I'm like, yeah, sure. And I went and I met with them, and they hired me on the spot. So God is really good in that. But yeah, so I had a 1-year internship with this like sportswear brand, and one thing I can say is like I definitely did learn a lot, but there was just, before it started, I think that there was just so many things that happened that sort of inhibited my experience. For example, I started my 1-year internship, I believe is in September or October, and somebody that I was very close to died in August. And for the entire summer I was like rushing to finish up classes and everything. And I think, you know, I think I'm just realizing it now, but just because of like past circumstances, I realized that I'm very good at, what's the word? I guess categorizing my emotions. And so yeah, like my aunt, who was my mother's second, she was a sister after her, so she was like I feel like she was one of the sisters she was closest to. My aunt passed away suddenly, she just dropped dead. And then I'd actually started a business before I went to school because of reasons happening with my factory at the time. It was like a shoe business. Basically, I had paid for thousands of dollars in shoes, and they were all delivered 2 months late, and they all had fitted shoes. So all of my wholesale orders for that year had been canceled because of it. The orders that were actually accepted ended up being returned, and I basically went bankrupt and couldn't pay back my personal loans, so I went into debt. Had to somewhat close that business because all those products, even though I had a bunch of products, they weren't able to be used. And you know, being a designer also, I had no contract with the factory, and so there was no insurance against that. So, and then after that, another 6 months into the internship, I had lost somebody else that was very, very close to me. And so, as I said, like, you know, just things growing up had happened where I became very good at compartmentalization, I would say. And so instead of being able to register emotions, like emotions like sadness or, you know, like, I don't know, anger or despair, like I just sort of zoned out for the past year. And, you know, just started doing anything I could to just take my mind off of what was going on at the time. So whether that be drinking, and again, not just like one glass, like 6 to 8 glasses when I'm going out, like with the intent of getting drunk, or smoking weed, like, which isn't, I guess, some people that big of a deal, but for someone that doesn't smoke, it's like very out of character for me. And again, just being like I got angry easily a lot. And I didn't realize it until I had a coworker I was very close to, the closest one on my team, who said, you know, Aidan, like, is everything okay? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I feel like you just get angry so easily now. I was like, what do you mean? He's just like, oh, like, you just don't talk to me, you don't talk to us, you don't talk to anybody on the team. And it wasn't until then that I realized, like, okay, like, my spirit is affecting my attitude is affecting my work. Okay, where do we go from here? So, you know, it wasn't even correlated, but at the same time, like, you know, working for a sportswear company, I was blessed enough to have a gym at the company, and, you know, they hosted workout classes during the day, one of which was CrossFit. And so, like, the brand was also like the official sponsor of CrossFit. And so I said, oh, well, you know, because the fact that I'm designing sportswear, footwear, and we're the official sponsor for this fitness activity, why don't I give it a try, because I should know more about it. And so I started doing CrossFit, every day at just one class. And if I couldn't make it to CrossFit, I'd always do some type of fitness activity or fitness regimen at class, just to prove to myself, to be like, you know, you need to know what you're designing for. I remember the first day I went, like, I wouldn't say I felt stupid, but I felt very discouraged, because I'm realizing that the thing with CrossFit is, because, you know, like, they always have the workout of the day, what that is, or the what, and they'd always say, like, for example, okay, like 50 push-ups, 100 burpees, 200 meter sprints, whatever it is. And I just felt like every single day, like, I just had the worst scores of everybody else. Like, I just had the worst progression of like, I felt like I wasn't progressing. And so I just stopped counting what I was doing and putting in the bare minimum. And I was like, you know what, as long as I'm showing up, then that's better than I did yesterday. I guess that still is like some type of a win. And I remember one time, like, I also at this time, like, I also started to go to church and go to Bible study as well. But I was talking to somebody in my Bible study about it, and I was saying, you know, like, I like CrossFit. I feel like it releases, like, aggression, and, like, it helped me, like, emotionally. But sometimes I feel so stupid, because it's like, I just feel like I do the worst out of everybody. Like, they force us to, like, record these things and write these things down, and it's not helpful. Like, why is it helpful for me to know how much I'm feeling? And this girl in the Bible study said, well, when you describe that to me, that's not what I think about. I was like, what do you mean? And she says, when you write things down, like, you're not recording how much you're feeling, you're recording how much progress you're making. And that kind of stuck with me. So I'm like, okay. And I think just the thing with CrossFit is, I felt like it was a very community type fitness atmosphere, because as I said, growing up, I did long distance, but I never did relays. Like, I was always like a very quiet person, so I was never really a part of like the club or group. Like, I did what I had to do for me, and I trained when I could by myself. And yeah, I was very like, so I was always very, like, a very isolated, very shy child. So even though, like, I did sports, like, I found a way to do it in the most, I guess, isolated way possible. So I feel like just doing CrossFit was a way for me to experience a community. And I feel like certain things I learned through that and through fitness that helped me to develop more as a person. And looking back at it now, fitness became my therapy. When I needed to release aggression, like, I would go to CrossFit. When I needed to feel serenity or clear my head or think, I would go to yoga. When I needed to have fun, I would do like bounce and bar class. And the other thing, like, I like about CrossFit is, like, also, it's like, as I said, like, with fitness, it's just this community. It's just a sense of belonging. Like, it's about progression and making progression, like, and tracking that, and looking at things from a positive light rather than looking at things from a negative one, and yet at the same time still being accountable and holding yourself accountable. So yeah, so after that, like, and then also it's like, I just felt like fitness was, the classes itself, especially CrossFit, which is so much about encouraging people. So, like, for example, at the end of the first CrossFit class that I did, I think there's like, someone said, hey, good job. I was like, what? They're like, good job. And I said, why'd you say that? He's like, because you did a good job. I was like, no, I didn't. Like, we were supposed to do like 100 of this, 75 of this, 50 of this, 25 of this. I said, I think I did 25, 10, 10 too. I was just like, girl, thank you, but no, I did not do a good job. And she's just like, well, you showed up, and how many of these things can you do before? And I said, I don't know. She's like, exactly. Well, now you have a benchmark. Look at the beginning as a benchmark. Learn to tell people good job and congratulate people acknowledge their wins instead of focusing on their losses. Show up on time and do your best and be consistent. And these are all things that I've sort of taken with me as personal lessons and as personal habits and traits. And so, yeah, like, did I learn a lot at that sportswear experience? Even my boss said it one day. He said, you know, Aidan, I feel like you're a lot happier going to the gym, like being downstairs, and you are up here, because the gym is downstairs and like the corporate office is upstairs. And I was like, oh, haha, like I thought he was joking, so I just like laughed it off. But like thinking about it now, like yeah, it wasn't that I was unhappy doing what I did. I was just in an unhappy place personally, and the gym became my refuge. Fitness became my therapy. The people that in the classes that I was working out with, like, they became like my champions and my friends. And just after that, you know, after leaving that company, I remember thinking, I don't know where I go from here, but wherever I work, I want there to be a gym. Like, and I kept thinking, like, I want there to be a gym, I want there to be a gym. And like, oh, I was living in Boston, by the way. So, and I was like talking to people about it. They're like, oh, well, the only companies that have gyms are like huge corporations. Like, you know, there's Google in Boston, there's all these other companies. I was like, I don't care where I work, like I just need to have a gym. And they're like, after a while, I like had to be like, okay, well, it's unlikely that not only that your office is going to have a fully staffed gym with round-the-clock workout classes, but that you can be able to leave your desk at any time and go. And so I really started to like pray about it and think about it, about what I wanted. And I knew that I loved fitness, but I still loved product design. I loved color, I loved material. And I wanted to find a way to combine these two things, like my passions for surface design and sportswear design and color materials, and also like my passion for fitness. And child, it took me a while, because like when I actually moved home from Boston, I came back home to the Bahamas. I just started like look for a job that was like sort of in between. And you know, my parents are like, oh, like I know somebody that works at this insurance company, do you want them to give me a call? I'm like, no, like I can figure out my own like job situation. And it wasn't intentional, but I just found myself for like a week straight calling different gyms, calling different like health and fitness stores. Like, hey, do you need anybody? Do you need a girl at the front desk? Do you need a cleaner? Do you need... Sorry, it's my dog. Do you need anything at all? And finally, everybody's just like, no, like fully staffed. And finally one guy was just like, hey, like, I know, like I told you, we're fully staffed. Do you want to come in? Do you maybe just want to talk and chat? And so I said, yeah, sure, no problem. And I came in and I talked to him, and he hired me on the spot. And so I became like one of the front desk girls, like, hi, how are you? Like X, Y, and Z. Can I sign you up? Can I do this? Can I do that? And like just being there and being in the gym, like I felt like so much energy, and I felt like that same happiness come back as when I was at the sportswear company. So yes, long story short, all of these reasons are why I wanted to launch my own brand. For now, I'm just calling it my name, Aidan Barrow, or Barrow. And it's essentially a sportswear brand that's vibrant, that's colorful, and that's all about finding happiness through fitness, through materials, and through color therapy. And these are going to be the main focuses of the brand. I'm really looking forward to start designing. I have less than $0 in my bank account, so let's find out how I'm going to fund this. But I am dedicated to remaining positive, being consistent. Instead of looking at it as me starting from zero, I'm now looking at things and saying, here's the benchmark. So yeah, I'm excited to share this journey with you guys, and away we go.